W-E.
The podcast you have been waiting for.
6 friends, 6 opinions, infinite laughs.
You're watching history in the making.
You don't have to open up your eyes, you can clearly see.
The #1 podcast is GCUE. 20 years of brotherhood. The Q La Familia. Raw, uncut, uncensored, and unfiltered. Bub's opinionated. Why Eddie keep you laughing? Steve will get the tea while Shot tells us all what's happening. Spiritual or natural. I'm here for the thrills. And when it comes to PJ, y'all, please say the real. From quick hits, heavy lifting, the mass to the week. We getting ratings through the roof every time that we speak. PA, GA to the Aspens, turning podcasts into undertable has-been. Sports, entertainment, and current events. Sometimes we get pissed, so the crew got a vent. So when Friday night come, you know just what to do. Sit back, put up your feet, and now rocking with the Q. What's really good, people? You already know what it is. You are now rocking with the Q on the one and only GQ podcast. That's GCUE, not to be affiliated with the magazine and the company. It's your boy Bug, straight out the 804. And as you can see, it's 3 of the 6 with you tonight, so aren't you privileged? So we're going to go around to the fellas and get these introductions. We're going to set it off with Bub. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If it's your first time with us, we welcome you. If it's not your first time with us, we welcome you back. Either way, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But I also want to let you know that if you're watching this on Facebook, please share this right now so your friends can also tune in.
All right. We want to send a special shout out to Steve, Eddie, and the real, yes, I said the real, PJ. Now we're going to send it down to Mr. Suave Magazine himself so we can get these quick hits started. Let's go, Suave.
What's up, people? Sorry for the tardiness. You know, I had to get the lights and stuff together. Make sure I'm able to be seen. I'm dark skinned. So let's just jump off. It's been a little crazy bit of a week. But before we get into the heavy lifting, we got this what is Jalen Rose situation with him and his sister. Jalen paid for his mom's crib. His mom passed away. The sister had moved in with the mom. So now Jalen wants to sell the house. But his sister is like fighting him because she feels like she should be able to stay in the house because she's been living there. And now she's taking him to court, dragging his name through the mud, basically saying he's a piece of S because he's not just giving her the crib. So if your parent die and you buy the house, are you obligated to let your siblings stay in the crib?
I don't know all the specifics, and I know Bub's going to elaborate a lot because I'm sure he knows more about this situation than me. But I had some questions before I wanted to give my transparent opinion. Like, I don't know if he invited her there to take care of his mother, or I don't know if
does it matter?
I believe it would matter in that case. Because it's like she gave up wherever she was living at. She gave up her situation. She could have been working a job that she might have given up all this to come and take care of the mother. So if he asked her to come for that specific purpose, then yeah, I definitely believe that plays a part. Now, on the other hand, if the mother asked the daughter to come and take care of it, then I believe that plays a part. Because either way, just because it happened, it still had, in my opinion, should have been cleared some way, shape, or form by Jalen. Or maybe he didn't have a problem with it at the time because his mother was living. That's a different situation. But I feel that first part definitely plays a factor. But like I said, I don't know all the specifics, so I'm going to hear more about it from Bub first before I give my... Because I have an opinion, but I don't want it to be biased. You know what I mean?
All right, so here's what took place. So he bought the house for the mom years ago. The mom and the grandma were living there, and the sister moved in 3 years ago to take care of the grandmom and the mom. The grandma passed shortly after the mom passed. The sister's been in the house 20 months since the mom passed. Of course, he purchased the house, but it's still his house at the end of the day.
That's true.
So here's the thing. No, you're a grown woman. Like, yes, your mom too. So though Jalen, if he asked her or if he didn't ask her, that's still your mom. So she giving up something, like if she wants to still stay at the house, she can ask him, hey, is there a rent-to-own situation or something like that? You don't go about trying to smear his name. Like you don't smear his name when he, by all means, took care. Like let's keep it a buck. They're out of poverty because of him. the grandma she was capable of taking. Like he paid all the bills for the family during the entirety of the time. So you're not entitled to it because that is your mom as well. So like you could be able to provide the service, but he was able to take care of everything financially because of who he is, what he has going on, and everything. And by all accounts, he's always been a stand-up dude. Like, come on, like you as a grown woman have to really honestly ask yourself, like, yo, this is my brother. Like, I get it. I might be frustrated that I don't want to move out, but let's sit down and talk. To try to smear his name is just trash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's weak. Like, your mom wouldn't want to see that because if you're saying like, oh, this is my mama's house and I feel this type of way, like your mom wouldn't want that because by all means, again, he was financially taking care of everything. So even when the mom was alive, she didn't have to worry for nothing. And when she got sick and had the cancer, all that stuff was taken care of by him specifically. So if he wants to get rid of the house that's in his name, because you're not going to pay the taxes, obviously, I don't want to be bothered with it. I want to move off. So if you have some sort of income, you can offer that shit. I'm sure he probably would. And you see he respects his sister enough that in the video where she's trying to trash him with the realtor there, he doesn't even respond. So that shows you where it's at. Like, you know what I mean? He cares about he respects his older sister enough to not, you know what I mean? Like, respond to that. That's it. Like,
but see, this is the thing. Just because he owns the house, which is true, like I said, if he asked her to come there and take care of fam and give up everything else, I'm not saying she has to live in that house. But what I am saying is that I feel in some way, shape, or form that he can help her out. Because if she did that to take care of them, that means she was an in-home caretaker, meaning she couldn't work another job if she was the caretaker.
She's taking care of her mother. Like, you're equal as no. Let's get it straight though. All right,
we are.
It doesn't. But yes, it does. Because
no, hold on. Let me finish. Just because somebody's your sibling, because I know plenty of them, doesn't mean that you're obligated to. It means that you chose to. Because there's a lot of siblings I know where one or two took care of the parent when it was 7 kids. And the other one showed up to the funeral.
But what you're missing is the fact that he took care of everything financially. So let's keep it a buck. He could have paid for out of services. She probably wanted to actually stay at the house with the grandma and the mom to alleviate some of the stress in her mind. But it didn't matter because he financially could take care of it. He takes care of the school. He has 2 daughters that he takes care of separately. His mom and his grandma were both living there. So I'm sure it benefited her more than anything.
I'm sure she did get benefited, but at the same time, I don't think he. But then again, hold on. Let me say this too. This is no strike against Jalen, because in no way, shape, or form am I saying this like I feel he was just going to leave his sister out in the cold, abandoned, and this, that, and the third. I'm not no means saying that, and I'm not going with her trashing his name, because for real, I'm mad this even made the news. Because I'm one of the ones like, we'll go on with the fam. You know, if it's something to be communicated about with the fam, then I think that's where it should stay. Now, I don't know her gripe for trying to trash his name to take the house, or if she just want that house and feel she's obligated to it. And I know she's in the wrong. And I'll go 100% and say she's in the wrong. But like I said, it's just, you know what I mean? I guess when more comes out, or if anything else comes out of it, then that'll be what it is. But hopefully
the thing is,
they can come to some kind of peaceful resolution.
The mom passed away 20 months ago. So she's been in the house for 20 months. That's enough time to figure out something. She's older than him. That's his older sister. So by all means, you know, like there's ways that she can like figure out, you know, ways to mean, like I said, she could communicate with him. Like, hey, I don't have a job right now or something like this, or can we work on something? She's his older sister. Like, her claim was also, oh, I helped raise you. I get it. That's when you didn't have the finance and the means, but by all means, he's been taking care of everything. So all you had to do is communicate with your brother. And just because you're frustrated and upset, you think he's not frustrated and upset as well? Like, come on. You never disrupt the money, especially when there's love involved. Like, come on. Like, that's too much entitlement in my mind. It's too much entitlement.
I think that for them to go through this, there had to be something underlining it as well. Exactly. Because you don't just start beefing over a crib. Like, that's something else happening there. So it might, like Bose is saying, it might be where she felt like she gave up her life to go take care of their mom, which that happens, and people feel like they had no other choice. Even if you do have a choice, it's like, but that's our mom. I'm not going to let somebody else go in there and do that. And again, it's still a decision, as Bub's saying. Like, you made a decision to do that. I think that when the mom was passing away, and if you knew she was sick, there should have been a conversation, some kind of contingency plan, and say, you know, when mom passes away, what are we going to do about this housing situation? You take care of that beforehand, because after somebody passes away, nobody's in the mindset or in the right mood to do any of that. So I think if you get to that point, you waited too long, something else is going on, and she's not obligated to the crib. Like, he paid for it, it's his crib. Even if she did uproot her life to go home and take care of her mom and grandmom, once her mom and grandma passes away, then you go back to whatever your life was, or you start making plans with some kind of situation to go back to your life, to get back to yourself. It's not his responsibility to now take care of you because you've been there for 3 years. I don't think that's fair.
True, I agree. And then the 20 months is good enough time to get something started. But like I said,
that's my point. Like, that's his
right.
older sister, and her true gripe is, I helped raise him, which we know. Like, all right, cool, you did help raise him, but I also think 20 months is a nice grace period for a nice house that you're just living in after the fact. But like, the point is, it still sits in his name. So at the end of the day, he can do what the hell he wants to do with it. And you know what I mean? Like you just better off having a conversation with him. Don't sit there and
it
think
goes back to that entitlement.
Entitlement.
Like, it's entitlement. Like, because now again, like, you're bringing up, I helped raise them. So now you feel like because you did that, you owe me something. Like, and it goes back to our lottery question. Like, if you make it big, do you owe people your money? And
no, not at all.
Like they say, she wasn't with him suiting in the gym.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, even if it's that, you know what I mean? Like, if he said, okay, here you go, here's an apartment, got you straight, and she turned that down, then I completely understand. You see what I'm saying? Because at least he made some kind of amends to make sure she was good. But like I said, I just want to close with, I hope they're able to come to some kind of reasonable, conclusion to the whole matter. And I'm still kind of feeling some type of way it came public. That's all.
No doubt. Well, we hope that the family resolves the issue without it being even furthermore like of a heated exchange and anything nastier taking place from this. Blessings to them all. There's a lot of pain and a lot of things going on that don't need to be there. So good luck to the Rose family.
Hug each other, talk it out. Where we going next? 'Cause I know where we're going next. I'm going to hit this one.
All right. So I don't know if y'all saw the preview for it, but LeBron James is executive producing a new house party remake, I guess you can call it. I watched the clip. Honestly, I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate it. And I thought I would be upset. I thought it would make me feel like he was trying to like redo a 90s theme kind of movie. And it's not. If he named it Party House, it had the same effect. It's just, I think house party and saying you're remaking house party is where people are going to get thrown off. But I think the concept is dope. So if you haven't seen the trailer, it's two kids, Jacob Lattimore. Who's the other dude? I have
no clue who that is.
Nobody knows. I don't know.
I don't know what his name is. Anyway, so they have a house cleaning business. They end up going to clean the house. It's LeBron James's crib. One of them needs like $10,000, like almost instantly. So they were like, we need to throw a party. That sounds like a great idea. They go for it. He's like, we don't have where to throw it at. And he's like, we can just throw it here at LeBron's house. He's on vacation. And then they throw the party there and like all hell breaks loose. I think it's going to be a funny movie. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I love the fact I'm not really going to see LeBron in the movie.
He's in there.
I mean, he makes an appearance. He has like his little hologram thing, but it's like it's not a LeBron acting in the movie like Shaq acting in Shazam or Michael Jordan acting in
Blue Chips,
Space Jam. Like it's not to that level. These are actually actors in the movie, and LeBron makes an appearance. I think that's different. I'm gonna watch it.
I got a question. I got to come with my question. Now, is this supposed to be like a modern day house party? Because I've seen the trailer. The trailer was all right. It was what it is. Now, if it was a movie just coming out, I'm cool with that. But is this supposed to be a spinoff of the traditional, or is this just his version to capitalize on the money or the outlook, bringing this generation something that we had back in the day?
I mean, it's a remake. it's a remake, just like Superfly was a remake. You know what I mean? Like it's a modern day concept of something that, you know, sat deep in the culture. Like Superfly was in the 70s, and then they made that new version that I honestly didn't hate. So I'm not gonna grind up shot too much for not appreciating
I mean,
the
if you
true
like
renaissance.
Superfly,
Listen. But House Party is
it's a cult classic.
it's so besides the fact that it's a cult classic, it's just basic and realistic as hell. Like a teenager getting in a fight in school. It's real simplistic and so relatable on so many levels, especially in the black household.
Go to the
You
party.
sneaking out to go see some girls at your homie's house.
Yep.
They have this crazy party. You sneak out just in time before your dad get to whip your ass. You think you get home, and at the moment where you think that you got home, you realize like I'm home, and this motherfucker really realized that I didn't make it home, and get your ass whooped.
That's true.
That's a hell of a normal concept that's so relatable on so many levels. Like,
it's a real black teenager movie from like the late 80s, early 90s. It's real.
Forever.
It's realistic. Now,
right.
Somebody just having access to LeBron James's crib and throwing a party at LeBron James's crib, different story. Because number one, they ain't getting past the security gate. We just gonna start right there. Like that's not even gonna damn happen. But it's I think the concept, like parties are parties, they happen all the time. Like celebrities have parties all the time. People have gatherings and parties at their crib all the time. It's realistic except for the fact that it's LeBron James's house. I think that's the only part that makes it a little unrealistic. But it might be cool. It might be funny.
I think LeBron needs to leave all the classics go. Like he remade Space Jam. Whatever. Like that's a push. Because both of them, like whatever, those are for kids. But this, like I said, because between House Party 1 and 2, I don't think this is going to be able to surpass either one. Like the Pajama Jamie Jam was right. So what was the point? Like come up with some new ideas. Don't just remember everything from your. Like this is the thing. I feel it's that moment where I got so much money, I can remake everything that I liked back in the day, and that's what I'm feeling he's starting to do. Like I can just make versions of the stuff that I like with my people and how I want to do it, and it's classics. Like you know what I mean. So I think we got to start coming up with some new ideas. There's enough people.
They ain't got no
out
ideas.
For this.
This generation it's a generation of remakes. Like there's nothing.
Music,
there's nothing
movies,
original. Like,
all of
even the music, you don't even try to
clothes,
act like you're covering it up.
Clothes, everything except for skin.
But they say society recycles itself. So maybe this is just a recycled generation. Maybe that's what they do. I don't know. LeBron, I think he can put his money into a lot of different projects if he's going to get into film. I think he has an Oscar already, if I'm not mistaken.
Kobe does.
Kobe has an Oscar.
Kobe has an Oscar.
I
think Kobe has an Oscar. I think Barack has an Oscar too. Like he executive produced some short film.
Yes, but leave House Party go. Bron, you better than this. Like as a fan, go find some other young up and coming writers with new creative ideas. Leave the classics go.
I'm gonna give him props though. It's better than House Party 3. And I ain't even seen it yet. That shit was immature. That wasn't it. That's the one that's the one. That's the one that should have been made.
I might agree with you there, but I had to watch it first to say it's better than that.
I watched it.
You don't gotta watch it first.
That ain't Ninja Turtles. That's that ass. It's still a classic line, and the Bernie Mac fuck 'em. Like those are classics. So. There's a couple of classic lines in there, but
Part 3 was alright. I'm telling you.
You got a point.
All right.
They saved it.
What'd you say?
Jump into this. So that might have saved the movie. I think Bernie saved the movie for him.
Yo, I'm telling you.
As long as you only bring Kid and Play and Tisha Campbell and all them back into the movie, then we good. As long as you left Autumn out of there.
They're in Kid and Play's in this new movie.
But it's a whole
they have but they have guest appearances, you know what I mean? And that's the whole thing about it. Like, of course, you got to pay homage to the stuff. Like, even like How to Be a Player had Max Julian from the Mac in there. Like, you're going to always have that. That's how you pay your respect and homage. But I don't think
you pay your respect and the thank yous.
Nah, you don't do that. You don't do that because again, that's a cultural icon movie. It's a classic.
But I think that's where you mess it up. Then now I don't agree with it anymore. Because that's when you mess it up at. When you start pulling people out of the old movie into the movie, then it makes it seem like you're really trying to redo their thing, and
Emulate
that's
the movie. Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Nah, because we
I
don't
don't
even
agree
know.
no more.
We
I
don't know
quit.
what
I
they're
don't agree
doing
no
in there.
more.
I'm sure that they're not doing the kid and play. I hope they might, but I hope they're not. You know
I'm
what I
pretty
mean?
sure
But
they are.
they
I
might.
would
But
bet on it. I would bet on it.
But that makes it. If they do that, that makes it corny. That's
Or
the
it's
problem.
gonna
it
be
don't
some.
make it corny.
It's gonna be some dance contest between two females, two males, going back
Nah,
and forth,
this
like getting playing Sydney and Sheree dig. You know what I mean? All that.
because these little new dudes they don't dance. It's like they do a little thing where they just be like this, looking like roaches and ants and shit.
This man.
You know what?
Whoa. Whoa. I heard some
Yo,
dumb shit the baby
I,
made. Never mind. We ain't gonna talk about that. Let's move forward.
No doubt. So let us know what y'all think about the idea of House Party being remade. You know, we always like to hear from our followers, our listeners. Let us know what you think about it. Give us a thumbs
Nobody
up,
likes
thumbs
it.
down. They do.
Thumbs down. If they do the kid and play dance, it's a wrap. I'm throwing the remote at the screen. Is this going straight
Yeah.
to it's movie theater movie or is it going straight to like Netflix?
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming out next year.
it's coming out in the theaters, man.
As
Yeah.
theaters?
Yeah.
Just like Space Jam.
That's good.
LeBron don't do bullshit. That's one thing too. Like, you know, he was in Trainwreck. He can
Nah,
act. I just don't like
nah,
these classes real. Nah, he was good in there. He was all right in Trainwreck. Yes, he
He might
was.
have held his own a little bit, but that's not say he can act.
He
I
acted.
think,
He did.
but the reason I asked is because I know that like film on screen is it's a big money thing, and you know if your returns ain't coming back, that's a different story. But
Right.
if he's pulling it, I mean, you know what I mean, more power to the man.
We're gonna
Much
see how
respect.
these sales do.
Much
No
respect.
doubt.
So, Bush, you want to jump into the heavy lifting, or Bubba, you want to introduce that? Who's going?
Let's
take
go
this?
ahead and get into this heavy lifting tonight, people. We're gonna be talking about double standards.
Hold on, I
Double
need my hookah.
standards. Yeah, go get the hookah.
I'll be right back.
Do we feel that there are still double standards? To those who don't know what double standards are, we'll be explaining that shortly. Then we're going
If
to
you know
go
what a
into
double
the
standard is, that's a problem.
then we're going to go into what are some of the double standards that we, came up knowing or we're familiar with ourselves. Because I know some that I exercised that I had to work on myself, but we'll get into that as well. And then last but not least, do you feel that this times or this generation has done away with or increased some of the traditional double standards that we used to have in the past? So we're gonna go ahead and get the ball rolling right now while Shy go and get the hookah. I'm
Bub,
gonna
you go
talk.
first.
I was about to say we're gonna pass it down to Bub. Bub,
Oh,
what's
my
one of
bad.
your number one double standards? Well, if I go first, I don't mind going first. If I don't, before I pass it, let me go ahead and set it off. Then
Go ahead.
mine is a parenting double standard that I'm gonna jump into.
Yeah, explain that.
Sometimes, no, I had to exercise it. I really, really, really have to exercise it. But it's double fold though. It's not just one way. Sometimes there's some things that, as a father, you'll be like more accepting of your son doing it than your daughter doing it. Or
Mm.
certain things that you may let this one slide with that this one can't slide with, and I found myself doing that a lot. And I realized that is a double standard issue. It's a behavior that I'm working on currently, because I had to be trusting with both of them. But at the same time, my daughter's more mature than my son. So certain things when she may want to go somewhere, this, that, and the third, I'm more lenient to let her do that than my son because my son is not as mature yet. So like I said, it's a whole parenting thing that I'm actually in the process of working on. Keep the even balance and this, that, and the third. As they used to say back in the day, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That was parent and child, but at the same time, I can't treat one and shelter one from certain things and then let this one do, and then shelter this one from certain things and let them do. So that even
I have
balance is what
a
I come to realize I have to have.
I have a question on that.
What's that?
So when you realized you were doing that, did your kids notice it?
If they did, and that's a great question. Honestly, if they did, they never really said anything to me. even though it
Okay.
might have been talked about or even thought about behind closed doors. They never brought it to the light, so to say.
Got you. Got you.
But in that
Now,
same
when you
instance, isn't your daughter older than your son? So that would only make sense as you get like as they mature and get a little older, that like you get more leeway. And like I do think that you got to manage boys and girls a little different. Like though society is saying right now, like everything's equal. I get it in theory, but there still is some things that are in place that require you to parent a little different. Because what's the adage? Um, Papa's maybe, mama's baby. So like girls bring home babies, boys don't. Like necessarily. So I think that's why when they talk about parenting, sometimes it's a little different as opposed to with a boy and a girl. You know what I mean? Like where you're a little bit more lenient with your son because the sometimes the ramifications they don't really affect your home as much as they do if the girl would bring home a baby or something like that.
But see, that's the thing. Like, all right, prime example. Let me set the stage. I come in the house, boom. I'm supposed to be at work. I took off that day, but didn't tell the kids. If I come in the house and my son's in here watching TV in the living room by the pool table or something with no girl or something, I'm like, oh, okay, son, I see you. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, if I come home and my daughter, now this is the older one, is sitting there with a boy. I'm like, hold up. What is this? What y'all doing? What is he doing in here? You see what I'm saying? And that's the type
yeah.
of behavior I was exhibiting. That I realized that's not fair. I'm gonna have to change that.
But
But
why is it
even
not
though,
fair? What made you change it? But that's my point. Why did it
but
change? Why did it
no,
change?
and when, but see, most would say, "Oh, okay, he gonna be more lenient with the daughter." No, I'm gonna just be stricter on both of them because I'm not having. You see what I'm saying? I'm not
Right.
having
And I
no
think
babies
no,
and
that's
all this,
fair.
that, and the third coming up in here. I'm gonna just be strict with
But
both of y'all, and
I
then when
think
you become
that's
of age, it'll be what it is.
I think that's what Bub was saying. Like it's you treat it differently. Like if the girl come home with a baby, I guess is it different because the girl comes home with the baby and the baby stays with the girl and the boy
Right.
is like a teenager he still goes back home? Like
Yeah,
is that where
Yeah.
the I
Yeah.
mean,
Like
I got a
we're
dog, fam. I mean, if Miles
nah.
gets somebody pregnant, it's
No, no, no,
like
no.
that.
We're all grown men, but we
Hey,
all been boys. So
yeah, we know.
no, that's what I'm
we
saying.
also know that being raised, your old heads, your uncles, yeah, yeah. Where it was
Exactly.
like you bring a girl to the cookout, they're like, all right, I see you, Neff. Whereas your sister come,
With her
or
dude.
your cousin come with a dude. Hey, who that nigga? Like, who's that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Everybody at the table
So
asking questions.
right,
Yup.
you know what I mean? With the
Yeah,
intimidation
that's
type thing. Go to
Yes,
the
I agree.
prom. They go to the prom. It's oh man, son. Okay, I see you, nephew. They go to the prom. The little girl decked out with your son. But then the girl bringing it like all the uncles are like, yeah, make sure she's home. Like you know what I mean? Like it's a
Taking pictures with
mentality.
shotguns and stuff.
so
Right,
so
right.
wait, because that brings up a point because I don't know if y'all saw it or not, but Isaiah Washington made a comment this week about Aaliyah and R. Kelly, and he was saying like even though Aaliyah was only 15, like she presented herself more mature than 15. So he wasn't under the impression that she wasn't in control of her life and in control of her situation. So he doesn't know what all the hype is about her and R. Kelly's relationship at that point. And it goes back to what you're just saying. Like if you're a boy and you're dealing with like an older woman that's like in her 20s, pushing on her 30s, it's like, all right, I see you. Like you got that old head. And it's different. It's like
Right,
it's applauded on one side and then it's disgusting on the other
That's
side.
the double
right,
standard. Yep. That's
right.
the double
Yeah.
standard. That's like these 14 and 15-year-olds where the female teachers sleep with them. Boom. But then when that science teacher with the glasses is about 57 sleep with the 16-year-old cheerleader, it's just like, oh, she got slutted out. Or,
Nah, man.
Well,
it's
no,
like,
no,
You
no,
see, now
no,
you just
no,
change the age range.
no, no,
you
Now you
know
no.
what
But
change the
I mean?
age back
nah, but
up.
the thing is,
That's the
of
way it
course,
be. Always be
nah,
the
like
old one.
no, but that's the point. Like
That's the problem.
the pedophilia aspect is a big thing, especially in the black community, something that we don't tend to discuss. Because, like you said, yeah, like when we watch Juice, nobody ever tripped off the fact that Omar Epps was in high
Come
school
on.
sleeping with a nurse. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, Like he was messing with a nurse. Everybody thought that joint was hot. The chick from In Vogue had a full-time job, was cooking him dinner, would leave him at the
Like
crib.
30.
You know what I mean?
Sure did.
Right. She
I
was a
forgot
nurse.
about that.
Exactly. But like to your point with the R. Kelly thing, like, no, like we still know this was a grown man, and we do know, regardless, that a child was being like she was being brought up as a woman, but we know she was still a child, and her parents and R. Kelly failed her. So that's where the double standard comes into play with these things at times, because he looked at it from the molestation standpoint, and everybody always said, like, oh, okay, he's a molester. We went to school with chicks that was our age now, who have grown-up kids who were riding around with the drug dealer old heads, and it was like, you know what I mean?
But picked up from school every
right,
day.
getting picked up by school, and they would have the freshest J's and things like that. But when it was reversed for us, it was looked at like, oh, he got the old head. But it's double standards. It's still pedophilia.
Wait. So if some of y'all are watching us,
and they are, bro.
And you know what I mean, and you know we know you, and it's a possibility that was your situation. We're not throwing shade at you and your situation or your circumstances. It's just the simple fact that it's something that we notice now as adults that wasn't right at that age. And I'm sure,
forget his disclaimer. We know that you mad that old head, that old head ain't turned out what the hell he was gonna be. He got locked up a year later, and then you came back and retreaded and tried to talk to us, and we was like, oh no, we good dudes. You don't want none of us now. Like, you know, we're on that, and we're cool with that. But
that's the crazy part. It's like when you think about it, if you're 25, 26, and you got to find a 16-year-old, there's a problem. Like that means there's nobody but after 16 that want to deal with you. So you got to go find somebody you can manipulate.
I'm gonna just say it was a whole bunch of Audis and Lexuses in that school drop-off line.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it right there.
And that's a big problem in a black neighborhood, like in a black community, like. And that's my point. Like when we say double standards, that's one of the double standards. Like you said, the working double standards. Like we spoke about domestic violence last week. There's a big double standard when it comes to like you said, like, yes, men shouldn't hit women, but we should definitely tell little girls not to just hit men either. Like I'm fortunate that like my lady's mom always told her, like, yo, you don't put your hands on the man because it just don't be, and it makes it easy for us. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're told not to do it and taught not to do it, like you won't even think about it. Like you were saying, Shaw, like your mom used to raise, hey, don't hit no woman. Cool. So you're in a situation, then you can easily do this. But we got to raise our kids in general, just like not to hit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that serious. Like if it's not a situation where you truly feel threatened, you don't gotta hit somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle this comment right quick though. Death double standards, especially in my family. My brothers had multiple kids, different mothers. Each one they brought home was never an issue. After 20 years of being with a man, we broke it off. I brought someone new home and they treated him bad. It was really upsetting. Double standard. I can see how that would be upsetting.
Yeah, who said that?
It just says Facebook user.
I've never seen them.
Damn.
But yeah, I wish I did.
Anonymous comments now.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I can see how that would definitely be upsetting though.
Is it though?
No,
like, does the family have the right to do that?
I mean, like we just talked about, when the female brings the male, it's a different ball game than the male bringing up female to the cookout or any family reunion, whatever.
But if you a dude in the family that got 5 kids, it's like, damn, he got 5 kids. If you a chick with 5 kids, it's like, yo, what's wrong?
Yeah, that's a problem for some.
Yeah,
like,
you think that box is busy? That box is busy.
Then they go, do they all got the same dads? And it's like, did you ask the dude? Did they all got the same mom? Like,
nope.
It's just
that's double standard.
That's a bad one, man.
These are some of the ones that we deal with.
Nah, so all right. So one that I spoke on recently because I was watching something on TV is like the independent women double standard. So it's like if you're independent, it can be a problem in your relationship if the person you're dealing with is insecure. However, if the person you're in a relationship with is insecure and you're dependent upon them, then that can also be a situation for the guy. So it's like, do you
Now,
want someone?
roll that out some more, because that's heavy right
Nah,
there. That second
you know
part
what I'm
of it. Roll
saying?
that out some more.
Yeah, because it's if
If
I
you're
feel
independent
like
but
you're taking,
dependent on them, how you independent but dependent on them and yet need them? Like, give me that. That's what I need. Like, because that's
but that's the thing. But if they're independent, make a grip of money, got their own cribs, own cars, own everything, don't need a dude financially, then do see that as, oh, you're stuck up, you're snobby, you're bougie, or whatever. And it's just the fact that she's independent. But if you're dependent upon the guy and it's like you don't have all that stuff and you need them to provide that for you, it's like, yo, why can't you do this on your own? So it's like that. One, it's the confusion of the male species. Like we got to figure that part out. But is a woman able to be independent and still be desired, or is there a level of dependency that guys want that isn't completely dependent upon the guy?
nah. I think the key word that you
I don't even know
use
if that's
while
double standard no
expressing,
more.
no, like what you expressed was solely based on the one word you said, insecurity. Like a secure man can handle a woman that's independent in a sense, because you ultimately just want to be desired by someone. You don't want to necessarily, like a secure man. I don't need you to depend on me and depend. I just want you. I want you to want me, because that makes it that much more like of a love where you desire. Because we both know we don't need each other for these things, but when we come together, we make that much of a stronger bond because we just really want each other. Like the chemistry's there. What you do completes some of the stuff I do, vice versa. Like we understand each other. So I think it can't be a double standard. Like that can't be a double standard unless it's an insecure person. You know what I mean? Because you need me to want you. That's the
So
controlling aspect of it.
so it's like make your own money, but I think that's another thing. Make your own money, but don't make more money than me, and that
Nah,
becomes
it's
the
not that.
issue.
You can make
And
more money than
no, because
me.
some people had that
But no,
relationship
some
issue.
people do have issues like that though. I know some that have it, and it make them feel like. See, this is my problem though. This is my thing, and I know I'm gonna start some stuff with this, and I'm cool with whatever flack come from it.
It's the whole point. Get it.
Men, and you know it's unfiltered. But look, if you a man and your woman is making more money than you, that's fine. But at the same time, if she tries to take, and I hate to say it like this, but take that role of I'm head of household, I'm gonna do this, and we gonna do this, and you got to do this, this, that, and the third. Then I feel that poses a problem, and I've seen that. I'm not talking about he say, she say. I've seen that
So
happen to a couple of
you're
friends
saying
of
like
mine.
throw it back in their face.
Well, it's more or less just like since I make more money, then basically
I
I'm
call
the
the
woman
shots.
I'm the woman of the house. Yeah, basically.
I call the
Like
shots, and
But
I'm
and
taking
like everything
this.
runs through
We're
me.
going to do this because this is
so
my money mostly paying for it. So now I get to say on this, that, and the third. I may get your opinion, but
so
you know what I mean?
then is there a double standard in that itself? Like
At a household.
if yeah, head of household. If financially that person's the head of household, does she still have to?
But just all
So
right,
How am I thinking this?
let me ask you
no,
something
hold
though.
up,
Just
real
because
quick,
go ahead,
Bugs,
bro.
real
Go ahead.
quick.
How
In
Go
that
ahead.
scenario, so could a man like is it double standard for a man not to be comfortable with a woman being the head of household and him being like a stay-at-home mom? I mean,
No,
dad. You know what I mean? Because
that's
that
the door.
aspect, because
Go ahead.
that's part of the double aspect. Because like, again, society, like you said, like always wants the man to be the head of the household. Like you said, though she makes the money, she can't run some of the ideas and make some of the final decisions. Does she still have to be like? Does he still have
submissive?
to succumb submissive and succumb
No,
to what he says? Where she's making the financial, make like bringing home all the income, taking care of a lot of things, where she can't just say like, "Oh, I wanted to do this," or is that a double? I'm sorry. So is that a double standard? Because she should be able to do that if she's taking care of the majority of
Yeah,
the
it
bills and
doesn't.
stuff like that.
see, this is the thing. It's supposed to be, to me, both should have a
Typically,
distance. But biblically, the male
Biblically.
It's biblically. The male would be the head of the household. Now, this is a saying that I've been saying forever, and I hope it resonates in a positive way and not a negative way. I've been saying just because she's the breadwinner doesn't make her the head of household. Some agree, some don't agree. Just because she's the breadwinner means
expand on head of the household, because I think that's where the
conflict
comes in.
is coming in.
But
Because
I think the conflict in that is because head of household is a tax status.
well,
Like,
is it?
no,
Or is it just the fact that
like,
is it the primary decision maker? Like,
it's spread out. It's various things that fall under head of household. You got the taxes, then you got the say of the land, basically. Say of the house. I'm not talking about who picks the drapes or who does this. I'm talking about the one that say we're moving here or we're going here or we need to go here. Now, of course, it's to say both sides, but most of the time, that man is the one that's going to do this, the leader, the guider, the protector, the provider. It's supposed to be the provider, but if she's making more, you see what I'm saying? He's fulfilling all his obligations.
I think that's where a lot of relationships mess up.
That's where they go.
Because it's like I personally feel like regardless of who's making what, like everything done in the house should be a joint decision. So if you're making more, great. But if we're making a decision that is going to affect our lives, we have to make that together. If I'm making more, great. But if I need to make a decision that's going to affect your life, we need to agree on that decision or it can't be done. And I think that's where like that communication in relationships like really suffers with people.
I agree.
So is that
money's great, but you know what I mean, if you lose your job, big baller, shot caller, now what?
So is that the thing?
Now what?
Is the true problem the fact that how much money we give? How much power we give to the idea of money?
I believe so, because most people associate the most money, the most everything. Like I am the head. Here I am the head. I am the be all end all because I make the most in the house. But
I don't think money
ahead.
should dictate. I don't think money should dictate like a status in a relationship. I think that if you have a strength somewhere, say I make more money, but you're better at budgeting and you're better at spending, then I can make it, but you tell me how we should be doing this next financial move, because I might make rational decisions or irrational decisions. I might be a spur of the moment shopping kind of person. And you're like, yo, we can't do that this year because we need to make sure we have this, and this set up. So that I need to like step back and say, okay, well, you take control of the finances. If you're better with the kids and like schoolwork, things like that, then you take that. If I'm better with schoolwork than you are, then I should take control of that. I think it's a balance of finding the strengths in each person and letting that person run that strength in the house, regardless of who's making what.
That's how it should be. Other than that, it's a double standard. Now,
because you would get called a broke N-word in a heartbeat. if the money's flowing from the opposite direction and you ain't got to try to call shots, broke N-word, who are you talking to?
Now, I want to walk through this door that Bub opened a little earlier because this is one of my main points to ponder. And it's going to fall under the second question and the third when we feel, do this generation in these times change some of the traditional standards? Let's look at this stay-at-home dad situation because it seems to be a craze. Like last year, I believe, it was on even Good Morning America. It was a craze, like stay-at-home dads becoming more and more prevalent. Now, me personally, just giving my personal opinion, if I'm making 50 to 60,000 and I have a newborn at home, or I have two newborns at home, or 1 2 years old and one newborn, and then my queen is making 250,000 or 275,000 a year, and she came and asked me, "Hey, I make enough to substantiate. Would you be comfortable staying at home? This, that, and the third?"
I'll go buy the diapers.
We
good. We good.
That was my point. Like me, I would have to ponder on it. That's just my mind. But fellas, how would y'all feel if you were in that situation? Go ahead, Shad. You already started. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'll stay home. It's like the stress for 50, like, and like the opposite is like to stay home and raise your kids and like do all the things that you typically don't get to do in parenting, or you might be at work and miss a lot of that stuff. taking the kids to like gymboree classes and socializing and going to museums and that kind of stuff. Absolutely. I think regardless of who makes that 250, if whoever has the better job, if you say I want somebody to stay at home, whoever's making the least money or whatever, stay at home. And the person making the majority of the money, go to work. However, there's always a however. You can't throw it back in that person's face when you get frustrated with work. You can't throw it back in that person's face when there's a financial issue. This is a decision that we made together. So you said that this is the road that you wanted to take, and it's the road that I was going to take until the kids get typically to a certain age, where it's like, all right, I can go back to work now. But if we're going to agree on that, the agreement stays there, and that can't become a conversation and frustration.
Now, what about
at
when
home all the time anyway?
Now, what about when society says to you, he got that woman going to work every day? There we go.
Don't pay my bills.
Now, Bub, we're going to come to you. Same situation. Wifey 250, you 50,000. And she says, I think one of us should stay home. Because as a man, like, what would your opinion be? What would you think about? Like, would it be an instant decision? What's going on?
Nah, I wouldn't do it because I've been working my whole life. And like, even though I raised my child idle time, because also the development of children, they have to also be able to engage with other people, understanding. Like, so like to understand, like to put kids in daycare helps them with social skills, helps them with social interaction. Like, you know what I mean? But what I'll do is make sure that the child is being taken care of. If we have that type of money, yeah, they'll be going to a top end daycare with that, you know, like whoever is making the most money, because that's what you do. It doesn't matter about,
but
she's making 2, I'm making 50. The 250 together is what we came in and so we was doing before this child was here. So though I don't need to necessarily be home with them because for my psyche, because we also got to understand as parents, you still have to have your own personal time sometimes. And that's why you see like sometimes moms have this postpartum thing when they're home with the child. And that's even with a situation where the financial like responsibility is taken care of, because it takes a lot to sit here day in, day out with the child, on top of the fact that you have these sleepless nights. You know what I mean? Like, and you rotate, mom, dad, it's your night, You know what I'm saying? You know, Bugs like, yo, it's your time. It's your day. All right, so cool. I can get away, and work might just be my simple peace of mind. That 30 minutes and that drive to work may be all that's saving me from just going like into a different phase. You know what I mean? So I think that taking away part, there plays a lot in it sometimes.
But I think like if you're say you're a stay at home, right?
Right.
And like you can still do play dates. You can still do like gymboree classes, little like music classes, dance classes, that kind of stuff. And you could be the one that's, shuffling the kids back and forth to where they need to be. You can get involved in the school. You can get involved in their PTA meetings, that kind of stuff, because you have the time to do that. I see what you're saying though, because again, the frustration becomes, well, I'm always with this damn kid. Not saying damn kid, because y'all got kids. But I'm always with the kid. Like I'm always around children. I can't have an adult, mature conversation because I'm watching Coco Melon. You know what I mean, all day long.
Right.
So it's different. So the frustration comes on both sides. Frustration on one side might be work. Frustration on the other side might be, I'm just around the kids too much. I mean, I can see both sides of that. But
I just think that
I would
definitely
be the Gymboree daddy.
I just think for me, I need peace of mind sometimes, and that's just always like I casually go out randomly sometimes now, and just go to eat by myself. You know what I mean, for peace of mind. And it's not about me being angry with the kids or their moms or my dad or my sister. You just need time for yourself. And once you get, like you said, because if the finances are obligated to just one person, and though you have this, hey, well, let me get this, like, oh, nah, because, I had a long day at work. This kid needs this time, but I need a mental break. Sometimes you got to find a mental break where you can get it. And like I said, a lot of people find that in the ride home, the ride to. They put on their little music, they put on their little therapy, they put on their little gospel. You know what I mean? And that's the key thing. So you need your time and space. And it's not about anything other than loving yourself to the utmost at all times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can love you here, but I do need this breather. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. So nah, for me, I would definitely probably just still keep the job because of I need something different. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to change the pace. How about you, bro? Would you do it? Now he gonna pose a question and then now he go, hey.
I said I would have. It's something I would have to ponder on. I would have to weigh all the pros and cons because I'm looking at everything else that comes along with it, fellas. Actually, like, okay, if I'm to stay at home, that means I'm obligated to do the laundry, the cooking, the this, the that, and all this. And I'm like, because
and be a sex machine.
You're the breadwinner. Well, no, I'm not good with that.
But even if you go to work, you still gotta do the laundry and the cooking and the dishes and like that. Still gotta get done.
But it's split.
But it's split. It's like if you're at home all day, that would become an obligation. See, did you think about that part, Chuck? Like, really?
I did because I actually enjoy washing clothes and I enjoy cooking. Like that doesn't bother me. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy doing laundry like that. I do it anyway.
Trips, all of that.
Cooking's fine.
Hell yeah, I want on a field trip.
Laundry can be what it is, and doing the dishes, I don't do that, but I take out trash. But like, my thing is just solely on the fact of like, again, I can only go back to the fact that I just need my personal time. That's it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you get the kids to like school age, so 4, for instance, like. You're at kindergarten, and then you go from that to first grade. In that time, like when they're in school, that's your personal time. You can do whatever you want to do up until, 2:30, 3 o'clock, whenever they get out of school. And then it's like now you're there to pick them up, and it's like now we home together. What's up? I'm not tired from work. I'm not tired from whatever. Like you can do whatever you want to do from 8 o'clock to 2:30. No.
Nah, the way my mind works, I got to do something where I just like my mind, the devil's playground with free time with me. I'm just honest with myself. You know what I mean? Like straight up, like the kids that like, what am I doing? Like I'm not gonna want to just. I'm gonna sit down and watch sports half the day. You know what I mean? So like, oh shit, I'm gonna go get this dinner ready and it be done at like breakfast. So you still gotta clean it up. I mean, heat it up. Like nah. So let's just figure this out. Yeah,
like you could be a green bean specialist by the time they're 6. Like like what you do? It's a crock pot night. What up?
I'm good. It'd be a whole bunch of crock pot shit the whole time and casserole.
You making some dope roast and shit.
Yeah, nah, I'm good. And to your other point, Bugs, as far as like, has this generation like killed some of the double standards? I don't know. You know why? Because we have like we go for a lot of the equality thing, but I think the equality ideal that we had is murky right now. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about like even like with the LGBTQ, the transgender, the race thing, like everybody's just trying to make everything so like nothing exists. But then you have so many people fighting against it. You know what I mean? Like, remember how big a dust up it was for people to say like Target's going to have bathrooms where they're just going to be, a unisex bathroom. People were outraged. They were like, "Yo, I'm never going to Target again." Like,
yo, you know like, and in that scenario, I'm fully agreeing with Dave Chappelle. I do not want to see a chick come up to a urinal beside me. Like that's just I don't want to see that. And it's not nothing against whatever their decision is, but it's like that would just be it would be weird. And I don't have a problem with it, but it's like there's a bob and a ponytail beside me. Like it's just that's I don't know. That's a lot. Like the bathroom thing is that's the thing. Like if you fully transition, like, you know what I mean, from a woman to a man, and it's like you're a dude going to the bathroom, cool. if you're like a dude half transitioning to a woman and you like standing beside me like, you know what I mean, Joanna man, like it'd throw me off. Probably the
Right.
word.
So that's why I'm saying
It'd
like the
throw me off.
double standards, because a lot of those things like we discussed previously on a prior episode, even the transitioning transgenders with in prison. You know what I mean? Because that transgender, I don't want to be disrespectful, got two female inmates pregnant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So then they finally decided after that kept happening that no, they should actually have their own area. And I'm not saying it has to be about that, but the thing is that is it a double? Can it really truly be a double? Like, did they really push the envelope, or did it help just make it a different
Nah,
conversation? Like, you know what I mean?
I
Is it a
think
different conversation now
nah,
of,
there's
double standard?
definitely there's a double standard in that because
Right.
I think that a lot of quote unquote woke culture issues doesn't really plan out like strategically how implementing something changes things. So it's like you just want to do it, but it's like if somebody came out tomorrow and was like, "All right, so yeah, there's been aliens living amongst us for the last 40 years." Like you kind of fuck people up if you do something like that. It's you jump in full fledged instantly. So it's like it's making people feel like you're forcing something upon them. So my double standard in that situation are pastors who get in pulpits and preach against, you know, the gay community, but then your choir director's gay, your wife's hairdresser's gay, the dude that does your tailoring on your suits is gay. So you can support it up until it comes to
And
church.
some of them are
Then
gay,
all of a sudden,
and that's the thing
then
too. Like some of
right,
them are.
and then all of a sudden it's a problem from the pulpit. But as soon as you step off, you don't have no issue with it. So like that's a huge double standard across the board.
So for me, yeah, that's my thing, Bugs. Like I just think that it shifted into a different look. Whereas it was just this way for a long period of time. Now we just have a new way of what it looks like now. Because I think a lot of this is, and though, like you said, people are entitled to feel and do what they want to do and feel how they want to feel. I just think that there's a lot of murky things with it. Like, you know what I mean? And I think it's always going to exist because though there's reasons for double standards at times, period. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's reasons for it.
I don't think it's acceptable though,
I was going to
because
ask: is
for
there
me,
any situation where a
nah,
double standard is acceptable?
nah, because it's a contradiction. Like anything that's a contradiction is not acceptable. You gotta figure it out. Like it's if you, especially if you know it's a double standard, you got to figure it out. Like it's not cool at that point. Like I can't be a walking contradiction knowing I'm being a contradiction and be like, but it's okay because that's just how it is. Like that don't work. That's the thing.
So
As weird as it would be to see Joanna man standing beside me going to the bathroom, like
You got to make it work.
nah, because all right, here's a case in point. So I take my 9-year-old to the bathroom with me. We both go to the urinal, and like you said, it's gonna throw me for a loop to see Juana man. But when he looks over, he gonna be like, "What?" And that's a whole different conversation I gotta have with my 9-year-old while we're standing
but
at the
that's
urinal.
right. But that just means that it's the conversation that has to be had because that is a part of society. Like that's not something that's going to disappear because it's uncomfortable. Like it's still going to be there. So at some point, I gotta I gotta find a way to bring you into this conversation. It's the same way. I mean, I hate doing this. It's the same way like back in the day, if you was white in a bathroom and a black person walk in, it's like you're not allowed to be in here. Like if you're not a racist parent, you got to have a conversation. Like that's just another person.
And
Like you
see,
can't.
but that's a
It's
yes. I don't even want to go. You good?
that's saying
Go. I'm not even gonna go into
that's saying it's a no.
that.
It's a
Yeah.
hard conversation, and I hate. I honestly do. I hate comparing race to sexual orientation. I absolutely hate
Right.
doing that because it's not equal.
Right.
I think the maybe the judgment around it or the prejudices around it balance in some areas, but it's not an equal conversation. Race and sex are not.
Right.
It's not the same thing. So Yeah.
What's your
Now
thoughts
let
on
me
the
ask.
book? You asked about it, so what you think? You think they
I'm gonna
push it?
tell you. Yeah, well, double
Uh-oh.
standards is just like I agree with what Shah said. They need to be worked out as long as you're acknowledging it for what it is, because that's like point and partner. Like you brought up the LGBTQ or community, and it's like okay, so now this generation has they made it more acceptable for people to turn on their TV and see a man and a man kissing on shows like Empire and this, that, and the third versus women that was kissing
Yeah.
because that was a double standard.
Yeah.
Like, has that changed now this day and time? Made it more comfortable for people to see that now? Because back in
Has
the
it
day, it
made
was
it
frowned upon.
has it made it more comfortable for people to see it? No. Like, because if you're uncomfortable with it, you're uncomfortable with it. It's not going to make it better because you're seeing it more.
Exactly.
Has it made it more like you have to acknowledge that that's actually somebody's life? Yes. But I don't think anybody that's uncomfortable in that situation is going to become comfortable because you're being placed in it more often. I don't think that's the case. I think those are like conversations that you have to have with whatever makes you uncomfortable. If it's something that you're willing to accept or change or have a different mindset about or come to with an open mind, it's a conversation. But if not, then nothing that anybody does is going to make it easier. Like you can't watch Empire and be like, "Oh, that's cool." If that's not something that you're cool with, like it's not going to make it. It's not going to make it better. Is it more out there? Yeah, and I don't even think it's because people that run the networks want it to be out there. I think it's that they don't want the kickback of saying that they didn't do it.
I got you. Now,
No
Bob, I
doubt.
know you know exactly what I'm talking about when I was like, the whole double, like women and women always been acceptable, like never
Right.
frowned upon, always like, oh, look at that. And then you see
Hmm.
dudes like, ah. So what's your
Right.
take on it? What's your take on it, Chief?
I mean,
That's the
the reason,
double
the
standard.
re, yeah, I mean, it's a double standard, and like I said, I'm guilty of it. Like, but of course, because women are my preference, like they're my sexual preference. So, like I look at women. So seeing two nice looking women, but here's the thing. Here's the trick. Let me make sure I say this correct. It's two very feminine women that they usually show. Like when you watch people walk in brothels and stuff, and on TV, it's usually two sensual looking women. Now, when we watch, like, look at Brittany Griner's situation. She's a woman, she has a wife. You know what I mean? Like, she has a wife. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you know what I
My
mean?
bad. Nah, I
But
just I
no, you're good. You're
know
good. You're good. You're good. You're
facts.
good.
I don't
But
know
when,
like I
but
was
when,
laughing at
but
the
when,
situation.
but it's quite like it's not. I don't think it's. I think it's kind of like it sets some people back because though she's a woman, you know what I mean. She carries herself as a dude, like you know what I mean. So I don't think that it's as enticing to some as it is to others. Like there's people that's strong enough mind to know like, oh, she's still a woman, so she'll get it. People take it like, man, because in their mind, since she looks like a dude, they're like, oh, you know what I mean? She carries herself like a dude. They'd be like, oh, nah, she's a dude. But in reality, she's a woman just like her wife. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it depends on what you're seeing visually. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm a part of that double standard. Like if I see it, like you know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But but it also has to be two women that look like women that I like, not women that, like I said, one that looks like my homie and his chick. Like that's a different thing. So
But nah, I
I
agree.
mean, that's
But the
that's
thing of
real.
it is
Like
this.
That's your truth. Like you know what I mean, can't knock you for it. It's your truth.
oh
I
no,
mean,
yeah. Like no, I'm just saying, like yeah, like but I
you,
don't like some like I said, like I watch plenty of shit. Like to watch like for me, I watch P Valley. Like
I do too.
P Valley has a lot of what I mean, like
I don't
that.
watch all of
Oh,
them though.
like, oh no, I watch. I don't like. Of course, and there's sex scenes. It catches you too. Like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't sit there and just go.
She be
But like,
laughing.
I
I
don't.
just be
But I'm
sitting
not.
there
But I'm not.
humming.
But I'm not weird. Like, I'm not weird enough to be on something like, oh, I ain't gonna watch the show because I
Oh
like the
no.
show. You know what I mean? Like, some people go, oh man, because it's this, and that. Like, nah, I'm not into that because the storyline's okay. So I still
yeah,
watch the show. You know what I mean? So again, it's about you. It's about your securities and also what your preference is with things. You know what I mean? So I don't trip too much off of that because I also know what my entertainment is. It's just entertainment. So
I think even that's honestly that's a really good example, um, because it's there that the show it's a lot. That show is absolutely a lot.
right,
But again, it's
right.
like that's somebody's life. You know what I mean? So it's like that's somebody's reality that they're now looking at it and being like, I feel seen. You know what I mean? So it's a lot, but it's like there's an Uncle Clifford somewhere,
Mhm.
like in the world, not even the world, like in every neighborhood, basically. That is that person, and I think that it goes to what Boogs is saying. Does throwing that on TV make it more acceptable, or does it make people say that's too much? Even you know what I mean? And
Sure.
it's like you might have an Uncle you might have Uncle Clifford in your family. You know what I mean? It's like you can accept that Uncle Clifford, but this Uncle Clifford is like I reel it in. It's just it's. I think that's a tricky conversation in the world, and I think it's because it's so taboo for so long, and acting as if it didn't exist until recently makes it even more tricky. So it's I think a lot of double standards in that nature can be resolved with conversation. Like it's you realize like, oh, you cool as shit, Uncle Clifford. No, it's just
I mean,
I don't
I
know.
don't have a like. It don't. It never bothered me that because people's preference are their preference. I got a couple gay cousins. You know what I mean? Like I love them
Yeah,
just like they love me. Like you know what I mean? Like I've had women that I've been with. You know what I mean? And with my woman now who had cousins that are gay. Like you know what I mean? Like it don't bother me. Like that's their preference.
yeah,
Like I'm not that in. Like I'm not insecure. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? I've been out where we've been out, you know what I mean, with clubs and like, you know what I mean? Because it's not that serious to me. So that's why it doesn't bother because, like, for me, I'm comfortable with the person I am. Like, do I want to see it all the time? I'm gonna be honest, no. And that's for the women too, though. That's even for the women. Like, you know what I mean?
right.
Like, that's mine. But like, am I like, well, have I hung out? Like, yeah, it's not no big thing. You know what I mean? And that's really about your securities or just where you're at and where you. And the thing is, you're allowed to feel the way you're allowed to feel. That's the thing. But for me, it just ain't that serious because people are gonna be people. I'm a black man. I'm the most judged thing on the fucking earth without even doing anything. Like I don't have to open my mouth or nothing. I could have a doctorate. So who am I to judge what you like as your type of love? That's corny. That's wasted energy that I don't have. So
Agree.
True. True. Well,
So all in all, double standards is bullshit.
most definitely.
Deal with it.
they they are.
You know, you gotta deal with it. So let's let Bugs close this out.
Y'all know
Hold
what
on.
time it is. It's Bubble Bath Books time. Clarity. Bubble Bath Books time. We getting soapy. Bubble Bath Books. Bubble Bath. Bubble Bath Books. Yeah.
I need y'all to disregard what you just saw and heard. But as always, there's so many places you could have been on the Friday night, but we glad you came to rock it with the Q. Thank y'all for being here. We greatly appreciate all y'all to tune in and watch. All y'all to catch in later and make it a part of your week to catch up on the shows. We appreciate you. To the interns and everybody that helped make the show possible, we appreciate you. We just spreading love tonight. So y'all be happy, be safe, and most of all, be you. Q out.
Well.
Peace.